Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Irsa Anwar, and I'm a Fulbright scholar. I'm pursuing a master's degree in civil engineering at SUNY Buffalo, that is State University of New York at Buffalo. And I'm here today to share with you the process of applying abroad for higher education. So I'll leave you guys to ask me any questions that you might have at the end of it. I'll give you ample amount of time for that, if there are any. And I'll try to streamline the process for you as much as I can. I'll keep looking at my notes here for a while, so bear with me. I know that the process is very difficult, especially when you're sitting at home trying to Google everything and find out. There's a ton of information and it's very hard to streamline it. I know when I started out, it was a very difficult time, but since I've been through this, I'll try and make it as easy for you as possible. So there are a number of things that we'll be addressing today. So I'll start with choosing a university. So what you need to do in the first place is target a region that is very specific to your future goals. For example, if you're looking to work in USA, let's just say, after you're done, or it's the market that's good for your profession, it will be feasible for you to target that region and find out the universities in that region particularly, because there are a ton of opportunities out there. There are all sorts of scholarships available. There are scholarships that are working in USA, in UK, in Australia, Germany, Norway. So there are a number of scholarships available out there. So knowing which place you want to go for and then directing your energy in finding out more and more about that and applying in that region is going to save you a lot of time and energy. So then again, every region has a number of universities. So what are the universities that you would like to go for? Some of you might be aware of all the university rankings. We have the QS ranking system, and then there's the Times Higher Education ranking system. These give you world rankings. These give you region by region ranking. But what's most important to look at are not just the university rankings, but the department ranking that you're going for. So all the Ivy League universities have a big name, but they might not be doing well in your particular discipline, in which case you might do better in a different university, which may not be on the world top ranking. So make sure that you do that research and find out where what your discipline is better at, which university is better at yours, and then focus your energy on that. Apart from that, then it comes to scholarships. So scholarships, there are a number of scholarships out there, and some of them you need to apply through universities. Some of them you are going to have to apply through the government. Some of them have their own commissions working in Pakistan, and you'll have to apply through them. I'll discuss a few of these scholarships for you guys. So for UK, we have the Commonwealth Scholarship that works through the National Testing Services in Pakistan. They carry out a test every October, and you have to apply to that through NTS, and then you go and take that test, and then the nominations are based on the score. So it's region-based, and it's a merit-based scholarship as well. So they apply, they have scholarships for masters and they have scholarships for PhD as well. But for these scholarships, once you make the cut, you will have to apply on to the universities by yourself. Apart from that, I will discuss the Fulbright scholarship. So we have the United States Education Foundation in Pakistan. They have their own commission, and the application procedure works through that. You will be required to take the GRE, and you will be required to take the TOEFL. So I would recommend that you be prepared for these things. Have all of the requirements laid out before you start your application. So you don't have to worry about this, because the application itself takes a lot of time, be it for any kind of scholarship. There are Australian aid scholarships. These are called the Endeavour scholarships. They provide funding for masters as well as PhDs. A couple of other scholarships. So a lot of countries, for example, Germany and Norway are going to be on the top. These provide free tuition. So you will have to pay for your living expenses, but the tuition in these countries, in specifically the public universities, is absolutely free, even for international students. So these are very good opportunities to hunt down for. The next thing that I would recommend is be very aware of the timeline of these scholarships. So all of these scholarships work in a different way. The Fulbright, for example, it takes about 2 years for you to start your program from the point of application to the point of starting your study. It takes 2 years, and the course itself is then 2 years, or depending on whether you're going for postgraduate. The time it is much more than that. So you will be taking about that much amount of time between the application and the starting. If you are applying directly to universities, you can find out scholarships that they have for their students, and that might not take as long as some of the external funding might. So before you go for any of these scholarships, be very aware of what the timeline of each of these scholarships is, and what the requirements are going to be. So sometimes it is much more feasible, especially for PhDs, to contact the faculty directly. Now I know that is not the easiest task. Sometimes these professors, and trust me, they're absolutely busy. They have their calendars filled, and they have their inboxes filled as well, and they're being contacted from everywhere and anywhere. So getting in touch is not easy at all. But if you do land something like that, that is one of the best opportunities that you can get. So how can you make it a point to get in touch with these people? What you need to do is be very specific in your research interests. So, and if your research interests are in sync with the professor, and you can think of your email as an elevator pitch. No, the details need to be concrete, crisp, and right there. You have done work in that particular research area, and they have done work in that particular research area. Make sure you lay everything out right there. Have a crisp subject, something that deems attention. And if you have that sort of experience, you have a much more chance of getting in touch with the professor and getting an opportunity that way. So have your CV ready, send them your CV, a cover letter explaining everything. But before that, the main content of your email should have everything crisp and clear out there, so they do take some time to read your cover letter and your CV. That would be the best way to approach a professor. Now, let's move on to, there are a lot of things to talk about, but it's a little jumbled up here. Yeah, the application process. So that is one of the most important points of applying abroad. The application itself, it consists of your it asks you for your general experience and your education that you've had so far. But what the punchline of these applications are generally the essays, the personal statement, and the Generally, you may have to provide a study research objectives. So for that, these essays are the core of your application itself. These essays, they have to have a particular layout. So and everything has to sort of stitch together in these essays. Um, your personal statement, first of all, it is going to be where you lay yourself out. It is going to be where you can discuss all of your strengths and don't worry about being a show off. I would say it is kind of like being a show off in a way that you don't look like a show off. So what you're going to do is um, talk about everything that you've done so far and that is relevant to what you're applying for. You start out with a motivation, and that is what gives your personal statement a punchline. What your motivation for what you're trying to pursue is, and then you move on to everything that you've done in your academic career to get to that point, to build on the skills to go on and pursue what you're trying to pursue right now. It can be any of your school projects, your extracurricular activities, any classes that you might have taken, and then apart from that, any even any discussions that you've had with your colleagues. So show your interest, show them what you have been doing about it, and then what is it that you want to do now? What are the skills that you want to build now? And mention in your application that how is it going to help you personally and how is it going to help your country. So these scholarships generally are for the betterment of Pakistan. So they're going to look for a factor about how you can serve Pakistan with whatever you want to do right now, what you want to pursue. So if you can make a connection that is in place with your um, your personal motivation, and then your motivation towards your country, its betterment, is a very solid point in your applications. Um, the study research objectives is a little different. I know students get confused between what should a personal statement have and what a study research objectives essay should have. They sort of intertwine, but your personal statement is mainly about you, yourself, your experiences, your work experience, your academic experience, your extracurricular experience, all the strengths that you have that build towards this. But your study research objectives is very specifically towards what you're going to do and how you're going to, the thing that you might want to research on, and what your game plan is. You know, they need to know that you have a clear vision, and that vision is going to be translated into your study research objectives. Mhm. Then again, um, use these two essays to absolutely make your identity known, make your motivations known. The more aware you are of yourself and the more articulate you are in expressing all of that, the more chance you will have to land these scholarships. Now, moving on to how the university culture here outside of Pakistan is. So the university culture, it is in high contrast to how things are in Pakistan. It is a lot more stringent. You have to be on your toes all the time. They require you to do a lot of work. So be prepared for that. Studying here or anywhere around the world is sort of a it's it's a very different experience, I'd say. Um, and the amount of work that you're going to have to do is huge. It's not easygoing, not at all. It requires a lot of energy and a lot of time. So be prepared to do that sort of work. Um, I am ready to take any questions if there might be any. So I'll wait out for a minute or two and then we can move on. All right, if there okay. Aisha Shahid is asking if you can see the seminar offline. Well, yes, the recording of the seminar is going to be available on the WEP page and you will be able to watch it later as well. So no problems if you missed anything so far. So I'll talk a little more about the scholarships that are available for studies. Um, and I think I can go piece by piece. It's a little confusing when you're comparing scholarships and what might be a better option among these different scholarships. Um, the HEC offers need-based scholarships, and apart from that, they have scholarships for that are contracts for you to return to Pakistan and then teach in the universities in Pakistan, which are a little hard to navigate. But if you log on to the HEC website, you will be able to find these scholarships whenever these are available. There are scholarships that are targeted specifically for women, which is a very good idea for all you ladies to look into and apply to them. Um, then, like I said already, Germany and Norway, both of these have a free tuition for international students. So in these cases, you will have to pay for your living allowance, but the tuition itself is free. So it would be a good idea to compare these with the other paid scholarships, which might end up costing more in certain cases, depending on which area you are in. For Europe, there is a Schevening scholarship as well. I'm mentioning these. I think Google is your best friend. You will do very well if you don't know anything about all of these already. Look into these. I mentioned the Endeavour Scholarship for Australia. And then there is Fulbright, of course, for the USA. There's also a scholarship called the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. It's also for Europe. And so their program is they you complete your program in multiple universities over the course of 1 or 2 years. They all of these generally open up between August and October, and you can apply for these with the same amount of work on your applications. Um, a single application might not work for each and every one of these scholarships because so each of these scholarships is looking for their priorities are something different generally. Some of these might be need-based scholarship, and some of these are not need-based scholarship. So some of these are only merit-based, and need is not a factor in them. So these can be some good scholarships to research upon and find out what works for you and what is going to be your best bet. So I think that's about it. I've discussed all of the things that I needed to discuss with you guys. And if there is any questions that you might have later on, please direct them to Women Engineers Pakistan. Or if you want to get in touch with me directly, you can do so. My email address is a_irs@hotmail.com. I'll repeat, a_irs@hotmail.com. So if you have any questions specifically for me, I am always available to help. I hope some of the things that I discussed were helpful to you. I know it was very quick. So if I missed anything, if you have any more questions, please direct them towards me any time of the day. Thank you very much for listening in. Bye.